Hey guys, so I know that there's a lot that maybe people want me to comment on. A lot of people are really trying to get me to talk a lot more politics in the comments, and that's fine. But I like talking about what the outliers are, not going the same direction everybody else is. And I realize that it's like 11 and a half days till the election right now, and that's all people want to think about. And I will be watching the quote unquote third debate, even though the second one didn't happen. The final debate, we'll call it. The final scheduled debate between President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. That happens tonight. And I know that I'm not going to get a video out on that, uh, in time to beat the midnight ticker and have a video out on this date. So I was like, I got 10 minutes I can give to you guys. I'll just make a video now. And I still feel like, that should be what I'm talking about. And I'm not. You know, I'll wait to watch it and then we'll see what my response is to what happens in the debate. But I also am very much looking forward to the Borat movie that's out on Amazon tomorrow on the 23rd. Because in the Borat movie, there's that scene that we've all heard about with Rudy Giuliani and Borat's supposedly underage daughter. It was a 24-year-old actress, but she's supposed to be 15. And caught him, reaching down his pants on camera. That's something I want to see. I remember watching the original Borat movie and laughing very hard. I remember laughing, almost passing out, laughing. There's the scene where they go through the it's the naked scene, where they go through the hotel. I just could not stop laughing. It was just so, to know the filming style is like half those people don't know what's happening, and to catch all their reactions, it's just beautiful. I love that style. But there's also in the trailer that I just watched again today a scene where there's a guy in a Trump costume that interrupts a Mike Pence speech and says, Mike Penis, I have woman for you. And he's holding a woman over his shoulder, like he just stole a woman for the vice president to have. But that's not as politically, I guess, ready to create an upheaval as the Rudy Giuliani footage, because there's a good portion of Trump supporters who think that he is the savior of America, and that they believe, like QAnon, that there's a pedophile sex ring that is run by the Democrats, and it's satanic and all that. And to see one of his very close associates, his lawyer, caught in, that very compromising position. I think it creates a bit of cognitive dissonance for those people. And should Trump lose the election, those people are going to have to, be hit with a bunch of realities like that. Like, wow, there was a lot of projection on Trump's part, that he was saying that he was going to drain the swamp, and instead he just hired a bigger swamp. He said he was going to you know, cut spending, and then he spends more, than anyone. And so there's a lot of these things where like there's projection involved. Like they say that the other side does things, but they're the ones who are trying to do it. There's a lot of instances of this, and yeah, he might call Joe Biden like creepy hands Joe a couple times at rallies, but he's the one who said a couple creepy things about his own daughter. Trump did, and you know, I think this is just one more thing, but I think it was a planned October surprise, right? Um, it wasn't planned by the Democratic Party, but it was planned by Sacha Baron Cohen, and also planned by Amazon. The release time, that they chose, the day after the final debate, but also like so close to the election, to release something like this when the footage was filmed long ago. You know, this corporation, Amazon, is now making a political decision that is affecting the outcome of the election. And I think more and more we're going to see uh, companies that have so much sway with the American people that they, uh, with their political decisions, are speaking louder than a lot of, just lay people. The stick that Amazon, the company, has to be able to take a swing at this election, it's a lot bigger than you or I. And, releasing a movie with a lot of hype is not, donating to any political party, but this one movie is obviously meant to, you know, drive people to vote and make fun of the sitting president. Um, so it's kind of a noteworthy thing, When I make these rambles for internet archaeologists to find 100 years from now, and they're trying to do research about what was it like to live in these times. I hope that they realize that all these things are happening at the same time in such a swirling hurricane of events. At the same time, I live in Denver, right? And I should be talking about the Cameron Peak fire, the Calwood fire, the Left Hand Canyon fire, and the Williams Fork fire, and all the fires that are happening right now. That the smoke is horrible, but especially the Cameron Peak fire is the largest fire that Colorado has ever had, ever. And they're about to evacuate Estes Park. And those of you who don't live in Colorado might not be able to name a city in Colorado besides Denver, Colorado Springs, and maybe Aspen, right? But Estes Park is kind of like a tourist destination for people who fly in to see their family in you know in Denver, and then it's Thanksgiving time, and say they want to see some elk. They want to see some wildlife. They want to see some nice mountains, and they also want to go shopping through a good tourist trap town. Estes Park is that town. That is the place to go for all of that. Like, and it is rich people's town. It is like, it's a lavish place where when you think of a log cabin, you don't think that it's going to look like it was, built with gold nails. But like, I'm telling you, the log cabin aesthetic of Estes Park, it is really, really expensive looking. Like, there's a lot of shellac on that wood. good production values. And Estes Park is currently under evacuation as of today. Everyone has to get out of the town because the fires from the Cameron Peak fire are just about to reach them. And we're about to have a snowstorm on Sunday, which might help out. But, it's Thursday. Sunday's 3 days away. So that fire's going to have 3 days to creep even closer to Estes Park and wipe out that town. Grand Lake was just evacuated as well. You guys know YouTuber Got That Funk. He's got a bag packed ready to skedaddle out of the mountain that he's living on right now. And speaking of other YouTubers, just to back up a second, that Borat movie that comes out tomorrow, Borat's subsequent movie film, there's a scene in it that I'm going to be looking for another YouTuber, our good friend Robert Wallace, Hatred 42, because there's a gun rally in, I think it was Olympia in Washington, and Robert Wallace was at that gun rally, and what happened was the Borat character was singing on stage and singing some very, very bad things, but basically escalating the song. And it was a callback song where, like, he would sing something and the crowd had to sing it back. And he got them to say some very revealing things about their politics. But I'll be looking in that footage to see if I can't find at least one little still frame of the crowd that has Robert Wallace in it. Because he put up footage on his channel of that same rally. So, I'll be watching very closely, like with like a magnifying glass on that footage. Anyways, politically, it's a very busy time. And I should be talking about all of it more. But what I want to respond to today, now that I'm more than 12 and a half minutes into the video, I wanted to respond to a video by my friend Kane Cordova, who also lives in Denver. His video was posted this morning. It was called "You Won't See Real Money Till Your Late 40s If Living a Normal Life Plus Living in Car, Ramble." And what I like about the way that he spelled Ramble is he put it in brackets the way that I do. So I'm having an influence on someone, at least with, labeling their video, like the style of that. So I saw the Ramble part. I'm like, oh, I got to watch this now that he's copping my Ramble label. Here I am, the king of Ramble. I almost said queen. The king of Ramble. And I'm going to respond to this. So he thinks that if you're not making $35 an hour, you're just making peanuts. And so why would you work yourself to death for those peanuts, if you're not being valued and it's not real money and you're not going to make real money until your late 40s. And I have a few opinions on that. First, by the time Kane is in his late 40s, it'll be 20 years from now, and I wouldn't be surprised if his generation, the millennials, are still getting fucked, right? Because corporations and even all the way down to mid-sized businesses, they're finding out that as these more expensive older workers check out of the workforce and retire, they can find cheap labor to replace those people, right? And there are aspects of the economy and how it's being overrun with technology that is allowing more and more of this pushing off of the consequences of paying people less. Instead of hiring people directly, a lot of companies will use temp agencies and then fire people at 89 days in, so that they don't hit that 90th day where they'd have to hire them or give them benefits. They also and that's happened to me once in my life back in 2003, and the company was Tri-X. If you've ever gone into a McDonald's and used that little thing that dispenses the straws, same company, Tri-X. I actually built a couple of those straw dispensers on one day. But they put out like plastic trays for food for McDonald's, and other companies as well. But pitchers, I worked on that machine for a while. The the plastic pitchers that replace the glass pitchers, they do injection molding of that. And at about the 89th day, even though I was doing good work for them, they shit canned me from the temp agency. They didn't even have to fire me directly. They just called the temp agency and said, "We don't want that guy anymore." And so I went to go pick up my check, and then the temp agency had me out working for their competitor, Clax. And so I went over and worked for their competitor and did basically injection molding with that competitor, and doing a lot of good work with technical skills that I got from the Army as an electronics calibration technician, but only getting paid, just over minimum wage at that temp job. Luckily, after that, I went on to work for GE and tried to continue my career, but I got that feeling of like, wow, we are so dispensable, like disposable, like so undervalued, because there's always more young blood to throw at the fire. There's always they will just burn you up and then toss you out. And the more people there are with more education, the more people are going to be thrown at jobs that are overqualified for them and do that company a lot of good work, and then still don't get recognized for that, because the company's not looking for someone to come in and revolutionize things. They're looking for someone to come do the work as cheap labor. You know, if they weren't making enough money because of the workflow or the output or the product, they have people for that. What they need is a lot more people to just work on the cheap. And I think the problem that is actually affecting Kane, that he's not realizing, is that pay has been stagnant for decades. And with that stagnant pay, that nobody's making any more than they were decades ago. When prices have been going up, particularly on real estate, our pay hasn't followed, and so now real estate is something that is outside of the grasp of people who are millennials, trying to find a job. It used to be that, as Got That Funk would say, that a milkman could support a family and afford a mortgage, and now, a gas station attendant can't do that. A waitress working at, say, Denny's can't, but maybe some of the high end places, waiters and waitresses, could, if their income was ever considered income. maybe they're lying about their tips for tax purposes. But there's all sorts of jobs that you cannot afford a mortgage on, and I say can't afford if more than 25% of your pay is going to where you live, whether you're renting or buying a house. Now, the banks might do some creative economics to try to get people loans because they love to, get people locked into that long term source of interest. But you can't afford anything if you're paying more than 25% of your income to your your housing situation. You just can't. You can't start a savings. You can't afford other things in life. You'll start going house poor, and you'll see people that are like up over 50% of their pay is going towards just living in an apartment, just like the rent on their apartment. So, yeah, it's not that you have to wait until you're in your 40s. It's that an entire generation has been put in this position, and it's not going to get better for that generation across their lifetimes. You have to do things yourself to get out of that trap. One of those ways is don't accept jobs that don't pay enough, right? And it's very, very hard to do when you're hungry. When you're seeing your checking account start to dwindle, people start to take anything. But when companies don't learn that nobody's going to do the job for an unlivable wage, then they just consider whatever people will accept to be the livable wage. You know, why would they pay any more if somebody's willing to take the job? So everybody together has to say, you know what? If you're not paying the prevailing minimum wage, we're not going to work for you. It's not going to happen because I know human nature, but that's what needs to happen. Also, there are little tricks you can do yourself, like get an education in a field that overpays. I would say being an addiction counselor myself and working alongside nurses, nurses get paid a lot more money than they're worth. I know I have some nurses that watch my videos, but I'm just telling you, comparatively, there are other jobs that work right alongside nurses, like radiation technicians and counselors and social workers and even admin people who would have maybe a degree in business. They're not getting paid what the nurses are getting paid. Nurses just, they rock as far as pay, and if you can do that kind of job and you're looking to pick what job that you want to get to make money, I would recommend that. If you're not picky and you think that you could enjoy that kind of a job, go be a nurse. A quick 3-year bachelor's, and you'll be in the money. Kane cited $35, or you're making peanuts. I don't know any nurse making less than $35, and the ones at the detox were making that much to start, right out of college, younger than me, not as much work experience, but they had a different kind of degree. Those that have more years in and work in like the satellite emergency rooms around town, they make between $50 and $60 an hour, depending on what shift they're on and their experience. So, yeah, there are jobs that millennials can do that do pay and reliably, and are portable to different states. But for the most part, pay has been stagnant everywhere. And even those nursing jobs, 20 years ago, they paid the same amount. Their rate of pay might have climbed like 2% each year, while housing has gone up like 13% each year, and it, more and more creeps out of our reach as far as those of us who make less money. So, yeah, it's not just how old are you before people start respecting you thing. It's more of a sign of the times, you know. Businesses and corporations are, hell bent on making money and squeezing it out of every facet of their business, like how to make more money. And raising people's wages is a losing venture for them, you know, or at least they think. There are historical evidence of, like people having their pay raised and then all of a sudden they can afford the products that the same company is making. Ford being the classic example. But I don't think that if you get into your late 40s that you're automatically going to be offered more pay, right? I know I've been completely depressed over an entire weekend once when I was working with somebody who hit rock bottom and was a millennial, and I was making less than $20 an hour, and I led them to finding a job with no degree, and it was unskilled labor, and it was working in a distribution center for a local food store chain. And they all of a sudden were making like $28 an hour, and the only skill they needed was they had to take a 1 week class on those picker forklifts, the ones where you have to stand up in, and you can go through a warehouse and pick up, pallets, and then. So doing that job, making that much money versus what I was making, I was like, holy shit, I went and got a degree. And then I got certifications with the state. I'm state licensed, and I still make less money than that. This fucking sucks. I'm teaching my homeless clients how to get jobs better than I have. This sucks. But I don't think that it's so much that they're not respecting just my job in general. I think it's that with skilled labor not having their pay increase, with it being stagnant so much, minimum wage has caught up to skilled labor, right? When you can be unskilled, just working at, a warehouse, making 28 an hour, just moving a forklift around. And skilled labor, as say an electrician, is making 35 to 38 an hour. The difference between those two jobs is not that much. When I started out in the workforce, I was working on a printing press, making minimum wage, and it was 4 and a quarter. And I was working minimum wage when it got raised to 5 and a dime. So, all right. So, my phone ran out of memory to be able to film, so I'm just going to continue this video on my camera. So this part is like 4K and, all that. So, I was making 5 and a dime, and I was living with somebody who was a nurse, working in an ER, which is a little bit more than pay that other nurses would get. But at that time, she was making about $35 an hour. So she was making 7 times more money than I was, right? And I was unskilled labor. Now, you can't even make double what unskilled labor can make with skill. If you're a journeyman electrician in the union, you're going to make, 35, 38 an hour. Maybe in some cases you might be able to work non-union for 45 an hour with less benefits. When people who are unskilled are making at the $28, amount, you're not even making double them. So it used to be that your degree and your skill, it would work out to where you could actually rise above unskilled labor and get paid a lot more than them. But now we've got Fight for 15 for minimum wage, and I see a Panda Express close to us that's paying like $16 an hour for the person serving the food, and $17 for the cook that reheats the pre-processed food that gets sent there. And they have this like advertised right outside. Makes me want to cry because it wasn't too many years ago that I restarted my life. I transitioned in careers, and I had to work the bottom of the totem pole job. I was a security guard in hospitals for $12 an hour for a while. I was an addiction technician watching over a residential rehab program for $13.50, right? And this is within the last 5 years. So when I see that like people are fighting for the minimum wage to be over and above what I was making in jobs where I needed a bachelor's degree to get it, and they're wanting to raise the minimum wage over what I was making just a few years ago, I'm like, wow, they really were not respecting the fact that I went to school. They weren't respecting my years of experience in work in general. And yeah, if businesses get a chance, they're just not going to respect you with money. They'll maybe give you a Starbucks gift card and maybe send you an email on your birthday. A little free shit like that. But are they going to respect you with time off, paid time off? Are they going to respect you with more pay? No. So I think if everyone were to come to realize that pay has been stagnant for a very long time, they would realize that is the greatest issue. That other economic factors like the price of things and tax and whatnot have changed, but pay has not. That is the biggest problem in America. And I'm not hearing it addressed by politicians. And I'll be listening tonight to the debate to see if something about that is addressed. So since I switched cameras, I'm not going to be doing a direct upload. I'm already going to be stitching together video. So I'm going to throw on the end of this my feeble attempt to get a good shot of the Calwood fire or Cameron Peak fire, where we didn't get a good shot because the fire department had put blockades on the roads far enough out that you couldn't really get a good shot. But there are good shots of the fires. But I'll just clear off my camera and just put that out there for you guys because it's crap footage. I got a little bit of sparkle of smoldering, but nothing good. But it was on the back burner anyway, so I'll just add that to the end of this video, Ramble, and I'll make a video, after midnight about the debate. There's some fires in the mountains north of Boulder, And we're going to see some nighttime flames. So we're just some of those people who like to watch the world burn.
Long line of cars coming from that way. Must be people evacuating. Ugh, it's sad. Shh, Clyde. It's all over here too. God, it's so close to houses. Oh, you can see on the other side. You can see smoke all lit up with flames.
Okay, so we're headed north through Hygiene. We're going to see if we can get a good view of that fire right there.
At some point, huh?
Looks like we can go. Headed into Lyons. Blocked off right where Google says it would be blocked off.
Great, I got one of those douchebags. And can't see anything.
Sorry.
This is why I didn't want to pull right up to it. Spot in my vision. People evacuating. Or driving around the side.
Okay.
is where we were at earlier. What's going on? Oh, not in the park. I'm an idiot. See cop car lights really from there. Sorry, it'll take a minute for the overhead lights to go.
Seen one little flame jumper thing.
Did I just see the idiot behind us take a picture with a flash?
You know?
Hey, what'd you do with my camera?
So those white dots there are porch lights. Zoom in past them. Okay, there's one right there.
Sorry, it takes forever for these lights to turn off. Very aggravating.
There it is. Sparking up on the mountain. There they go.
This would have been a good spot to take pictures, but I don't want to pull out my tripod and everything right here. I think we're in somebody's driveway, so.
Yeah. Probably that dude, so. Yeah. So.
I just don't. Okay, I don't understand. Do you see those houses up there on the mountain? There are lights and stuff on. Or are those street lights?
So there's a field of sparkly stuff that's like you can't see it until I zoomed in. But this whole field right here.
You mean the mountain?
Yeah, on the mountain.
Oh, you're saying field. I'm like, what? The field in front of us? What the?
So like.
I wonder if the wind is starting to kick up there.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Like.
Is this always on in this truck?
No.
Why won't it?
Get the keys in?
Oh, beautiful.
Love you.
Sometimes I hate this truck.
Pretty.
I think that's always on. Do we have something to block that shit? Man, why are there all... I don't understand why there are so many bright ass lights on the interior of a vehicle. Where's... Smoke seems to be getting thicker.
There you go, babe. Do you think you could set it like in the change holder up here, to where like or right there, to where like you wouldn't be like moving it with your hands or anything?
It's picking up a... Or no, it's picking up the stars, actually. I'm going to try to focus it.
I just hurt myself.
How did you hurt yourself? You're sitting in the chair.
I got up and like tried to get up, and the seatbelt got me.
I can't do it when you're moving around. Looks like there's a fire actually burning off to the right of us on the ground too, somewhere.
So I started looking at all these other lights to the right of this mass over here. That's all fire. Or it's either fire or there's smoke billowing through it, because it's all like the right color for fire, but
These fucking lights are like royally pissing me off. Just went straight to voicemail. Left your light on upstairs, man. Well, at least it kept anybody else from parking there. I am not parking properly here. What am I doing? We're straight out here. Jesus. I'm close to the freaking sidewalk. I'm on the sidewalk. I'm tired. Leave me alone.
you're still on the sidewalk.
Hey, shut up. I'm on the sidewalk now. See? I'm off the sidewalk. There. Good. Whatever.
No.
Yes! Good. Shut up. I'm just worried about being too close to his driveway.
The back tire's on the sidewalk.
Look, you. God, Karen. It is what it is. Don't care anymore. Am I still on the sidewalk?
Yes.
Is it bad?
No.
Okay. Which Kim?